Okay, shalom, shalom, kwam yasha'Allah, koholoyim la, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rechahakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule well, and that by the Spirit taught us his beautiful truth. Just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and Nachwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan the Waf, just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that is edifying by the Spirit. And just wanted to kind of touch on Isaiah 4 and 1. One of the elders in Mississippi was going into it, and it made me, I remembered a dream that I had last night. And in the dream, Claire Huxtable, the woman that plays the wife on the Cosby Show, she was in the dream, and she was living out of a van. And I can remember the van was multicolored, and I'm just thinking to myself in the dream, like, damn, this bitch homeless? She was still pretty in the dream. And then it was like a hall with a whole bunch of so-called Edomite, or not so-called Edomites, but so-called white women, thick as hell, fine, just thick white women coming through this pathway. And she's kind of standing over off in a corner, so to speak. And I'm asking, like, well, dag, I mean, you're famous, you know what I'm saying? Why, nobody is approaching you, and nobody's, they're just kind of walking by you like you're nothing. And that kind of gave me that idea that, hey, this is the mindset of the people when it comes to Eve now. And plus, in that show, too, she really played the manly role in the household, if you ever noticed the show. She had more power. She had to say, if you notice, Cliff Huxtable that played the part, of the husband, he was always hiding hoagies and shit, hiding sandwiches, hiding chips. He was always sneaking through the house to try and, do certain things, and she'd always pop out and be fussing at him and shit like that. Even though it was one of those shows where it was a family unit, but the family unit was off in that show. You know what I'm saying? Because the woman had more power over the man in that show. Even with her daughters or their daughters. Remember when the oldest daughter, she got married? I think she what's this guy? Can't think of the guy. All those husbands played stupid ass parts, though. I'll put it that way. All of them. When you go into when the daughters got grown and got grown up, they just all had that it was that same theme for all the men in that show. The women had the power. They was fussing, and the men was all shuddery and acting like chicks. You know what I'm saying? But that was that. But in my dream, she was living out of a multicolored van too. It was like a damn one of those big ass Econoline vans. But I remember it was a door this color, a door that color, and it was just like but she was still pretty. That was the crazy part. She was still pretty. She didn't have on like no elegant clothes or nothing like that. She had on like plain t-shirts. You know what I'm saying? But she was pretty. In the dream, it was just that she wasn't doing so well. But anyway, that took me to this scene in this movie right here. If you recall this movie, The Watchmen, this guy, Dr. Manhattan, I think was his name in the movie. And this guy in Dr. Manhattan had all this power. Because when you look, like, he's dealing with this woman right here, right? But he has, I can't think how to call it, or he basically made people of himself. Because he got two people in here dealing with her, two of himself dealing with her in the bed right here. And she kind of opens her eyes and she realizing like, damn, it's more than two sets of hands touching me. So he done turned himself. He got two of himself dealing with her, and then she jumps up. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not gonna play it because of course the copyrights. But you can go into this scene. It's you can just put in Dr. Manhattan erotic sex scene. Lori breaks up. But the thing of it is he's the most powerful man in the universe, and she has the power in the movie where she's just upset and she's breaking, because he had multiple portions of himself in the lab. They was working. That's she like, damn, John, you're working, or whatever the fuck she said, and so she wanted to break up with him because he wasn't putting all his time and attention into her. There shouldn't be multiple yous running around in the house and working in the lab and doing this, and this. You should just be with me. I just want time with you. He's the most powerful guy in the universe. And that just took me to that scene because with the Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American men, we're in a fall right now, but we're the most powerful men in this universe, even still in our fall. where we are right now. We don't have no power, you know what I'm saying? We don't have no military, we don't have no might over our families, no might in nothing, actually. The Lord really done a real number on us when it comes to those curses. But listening to the elders from Mississippi's video, and he was talking about the Isaiah 4:1, and he was playing this one little video of this one sound like an Eve, and she was talking about how some women can possibly handle multiple men, here and there, whatever, but they can't do it on a stage or a level as far as a man. A man can handle multiple women. A man can handle multiple households. It's just that we're living in a society where Esau Edom, the so-called white man, he has clipped all that. This guy goes totally against what the scripture says. He's not with multiplication. He's not with us being fruitful and multiplying. If anything, he got a Planned Parenthood on every damn corner to cut us down. But let me get the scripture real quick. And again, this wasn't going to be a long lesson, a little pre-camp. Because I remembered that dream. And it was like, nobody was paying any attention to, can't think of her real name in real life, but she was Claire Huxtable in my dream. Like, for real. And she was known for her beauty, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was, a very nice looking woman back then, when she played that show. Even to this day, I think she's still pretty good looking. But this is Isaiah, where you at there? 4:1. And it says, and in that day, matter of fact, it says a remnant prepared in the title. It says, and in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. This is coming, man. This is going to come on this side, because you got IUIC. They teach that this is going to be in the kingdom. No, this is going to happen on this side. We can see a transition of the way that women are starting to switch up now. There's still a lot of pride out here. Don't get me wrong. But there's going to be a major incident that's going to happen to the point where these women are going to be like, I can't even, I can't do it no more. There's a lot of women already complaining. I don't want to do it on my own. I'm tired of living by myself. I need some help. I wish I had got married when I had the opportunity. I had this guy. I had that guy. They treated me like, you know what I'm saying, a queen. And I just, fucked those relationships up. Now I'm in my 40s and 50s. And, you got a lot of women out here that's like that. Here you go. You got a woman that's in her 50s. You know what I'm saying? Multiple baby daddies. And she still got to work. She got to get up every day with them creaky ass bones, hurting, just struggling to get to the bathroom and fucking get in the tub and wash up and do all the things that she got to do to get in her car to go and work for somebody for 8 hours. Pull a double if she can, because she need the extra money. And that's a wear on a woman's body, man, that they're not supposed to be having, man. Women not built that way. The Lord didn't make women that way, But I was just, I seen this. I remembered the dream. I was watching the brother's video, the elder's video, and that dream came back to me. Because it was a hallway full of so-called white women. I'm talking about a thick uns, boy, some thick uns. Beautiful. And, but she was standing up against the wall, and she was just standing there by herself, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, damn, you famous, you pretty, this, that, and the third. And everybody is just blowing by your ass like you're, nobody. Nobody's actually asking for no autographs. Nobody's, like that's such and such. Or Felicia Rashad, as I think is her name. And if you're familiar with, and like I said again, if you look at those old Cosby Show clips and shit like that, man, those women that was Esau's way of, and Cliff Huxtable, he has some parts in the as far as the writing, because he goes way back as far as like joke writing and writing scripts and sitcoms and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? But I'm pretty certain the ooh-ish people was on his ass about the way to do that show. But I guess it wasn't really working like that too, because Esau he doesn't want you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to see actual family structure, a mother and a father in the home, the children, you know what I'm saying, are dressed nice and getting good grades, and the parents are actually on their ass about certain parts of life and stuff like that, and bringing them up the proper way, like how the scripture says. Esau he doesn't want anything like that going on. Matter of fact, I could have let me just put in I'm just gonna put in Claire Huxtable. Let me see how it pops up. Fictional character. Yep, there she go right there. And she was in my dream looking just like this right here. That cute little pretty look. But yeah, she's older. She still look good though. Or the chick that played Sandra Huxtable. Remember her husband? She had that doofy ass husband. What was that guy's name? But all the husbands in the movie was doofy. Even the chick that Vanessa Huxtable, you know, the guy that she ended up marrying in the show. See? This right here is the perfect depiction of her on that show too. That finger out, fussing, and you know, him being all weak as hell. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, everybody in the house, you know, she was like the power in the house, so to speak. She was the attorney. You know, he was just a guy that was, you know, he had the job of delivering babies. He had his own practice in the brownstone, in his home. So they were considered to be a successful couple. You had a doctor, then you had a lawyer, and they, you know, had children. You know that they were, you know. Then of course they had that branch off show, Different World, where a couple of them went off to college and stuff like that. But overall, yeah, this is how she was looking in the dream. But she wasn't dressed like this. She just had on a t-shirt. But she was living out of a damn van, bro. Real talk. But she was still pretty in my dream. That was the crazy part. Yeah, but that's her that played the part. Let me see though. These doofy ass husbands. Then you had that guy that played Roach on there. Okay, so this was the cast. Oh, this was the guy right here that played, because I remember he was into some financial trouble. They was talking shit about him working at Trader Joe's. You know what I'm saying? Hey, the guy said he needed some money. Hell, he wasn't prideful. He was like, shit, I needed a fucking job. But everybody was kind of picking on him and shit because he had you know, he wasn't getting any acting roles and stuff like that. The money had ran out. Hell, he went to get him a fucking job, bro. So, and that's America. That's this particular society as well. But he played one of the husbands. Of course, the one daughter right here. She had a. It was just kind of weird. That's where you got what's that? The one little chick. The one that's out here in the LGBTQ right now. She was the cute little girl on the show. She was the daughter of basically of another guy. And the parents was all on her head, but she ended up she kind of went out kind of crazy, man, back in the days and stuff, because she was a beautiful young lady too. But yeah, you can see, boy, they's looking crazy as hell now. But anyway, that's not the point. You know what I'm saying? But I was thinking about this scene right here and how she wanted to break. She broke up with this guy. And now he's the most powerful person in the universe, but yet and still, she felt as if he should only be to her. And that's the mindset of the American woman. But we're going into Isaiah 4:1. That shit right there is about to be over with. And Jake already transitioning, man, because Jake is not having it no more. They just like, fuck it, because it's all work no reward with these women. It really is. But you got a lot of simps out here, man. You know, still rocking. But that's gonna come to an abrupt end, man. This is not gonna be. We're not going to be in this state like this, man, too much more longer. Me speaking as a man, I don't think it's going to be that much longer. We about to get the, you know, this Isaiah 4:1 is about to come into full-fledged play. So, hey, get ready, fellas. But, hey, you know, just keep your head on a swivel, man. Because Esau, Edom's kingdom is falling and our kingdom is rising, man. He's the end of the world. And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So with that, I pray that the lesson was edifying. Kwame Yasha Allah and the Bible Ball.